Ooh. I, can you hear me? Sorry. I ended Zoom and I forgot to restart it. I'm like, I'm waiting up. Blast, So I thought, you guys are traveling and all that. So sorry
Well,
about that. Yeah. No,
we're
always
not
just message me.
traveling. We're
Oh,
not traveling. The roofers have taken longer than expected, so we're still here. They're still
bloody
working.
roofers. Bloody roofers. All right, brilliant. Hello, Joe. How are you? How are you?
Good, how
How
you
are
doing?
you? I'm very good. I'm very good. Excellent. Happy to be here. Happy to be here. Yeah. Just message me in case I do this. I was like spacing over here. And I'm actually sitting here waiting. So I figured, okay, well, it's flexible. So, yeah. Brilliant. All right, where we at?
Is this where I started? Module 4, session 1. Image. All right. All right. 50 minutes. What does being a human entail to you? This was a interesting question.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It kind of entails. It's a biological question to me. So it just entails being born. Being human is a matter of being a member of the human race. It's your biology. It's not good or bad. It just means you're a human.
Nice.
If you're being real, you have to challenge yourself, more specifically your beliefs about yourself. If you do that, it helps shape your image to be a true reflection of what it should be. And if you don't, it shapes your image to what you think it should be based on whatever your surroundings are.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's huge to that point of what you think it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that can be very limiting, right?
It can be very limiting and it can change often.
Yeah.
Depending on your surroundings and who you're interacting with and whatever scenario you're in.
That's fabulous.
And then how are honesty and self-honesty different, and how do you apply them differently? I'm not sure that I believe honesty and self-honesty are actually different. I don't think that you should have a different level of or type of honesty with yourself as opposed to someone else.
Yes. Yeah. It's a bit of a trick question. I grew up in an extremely conservative community. At least the first one I was. It varies so much. One step away from Amish. And those people are all exceedingly honest. But, you could trust them with whatever, anything. However, that honesty did not include self-honesty. So to me, it wasn't real honesty because they they believed things in private which they never shared, and it wasn't a matter of strategy. It's just they had a big conflict between their necessity to apply obedience and their private doubts and thoughts, so they couldn't express this, which caused them to be these inadvertent hypocrites, which really stressed them. But I saw this discrepancy between being honest. I mean, if you put them on a lie detector and said, are you honest, they would have passed every single time, but yet they actually weren't. And so, like you said, the two have to be in sync. They have to be one and the same. If there's a discrepancy, there's a problem. And they really suffered from that inadvertent hypocrisy. It was really sad. It was a big deal. Ate them up every day. You could see it in these people that they stressed and struggled with it. So, big point. So, so a bit of a trick question, but it's at least one to think about, because many feel that they are honest like those people, but aren't actually. They're honest in certain aspects of their lives, but not all. Yeah. Very cool.
Let's see. Session 2 was pattern. What are our patterns? What do they say about us, and how can we learn from them? So I said our patterns are our comfort zones, what we are familiar with, and I think I was revert back to in times of uncertainty, or because we think that's what we're supposed to do. They say that we are creatures of comfort. We don't naturally want to spend time in uncomfortable scenarios, so we go back to what we know works. And if we stop and force ourselves to recognize what we are doing is part of a pattern of behavior, we can get into why are we really sticking to that pattern? Is it because it's something that we enjoy, or is it just because it's what we know to do?
Wow, that's very cool. That's huge. That's why I always had a problem with psychotherapy. they deal with your problem, and you fix the problem, but you eliminate the negative, you end up with zero. So off the person gets, oh, I fixed my problem. They get home, and then what do I do now? They have nothing to replace it with, and because of that, they just go right back to the pre-existing pattern, because being and doing a something is better than the impossibility of doing a nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do a nothing. You can't be a void. So they just revert back to the same old patterns. And the same thing with habit. If we don't take care of the habits, your new realization, your new awareness, your new replacement, all of the newness that you've learned means absolutely nothing if you can't unhook from the pattern of the past. So habit, that's why, this habit in way of impeccability was such a big deal. To shift that and to understand habit, to understand pattern, how it can so limit us and prevent us from growing and learning, despite our best efforts and intents. Very important to shift that. Very important. Pattern and habit are very, very limiting and inhibiting. Very, very huge deal. So, yeah. And from another perspective on this, the BMNs, and they're always kind of, their view is a predator view. They're always looking to prey on people, and from a hunter's point of view, know your prey's habits. That's it. That's all you need to do, and you can catch them real easy. So in reverse, though, we can see the patterns and habits of the BMNs, and not just people in general, not only in this context, and then we get to understand them a lot easier. And this makes our lives greatly, greatly simpler, and especially in work situations. You deal with people, this is their habit, you say, this is what they tend to do, you can avoid that, and you just rearrange your interactions more strategically, knowing their habits and patterns. So very powerful, very powerful, very cool.
All right, picture or remember a BMN who you didn't see at first, and write out how you initially saw them and how you do now. So I guess playing on Erica's answer, in today's world, there is no better example than Donald Trump. I remember first becoming familiar with the image of him that was being projected on the Apprentice TV show.
Right.
My brother, he lived in a townhouse that was, just around the block from.
Interesting. Wow.
Just around the block in Detroit. So he would come over every night, every Wednesday after work, and they would watch that. We would watch that as a family.
That's the same thing I said, that I didn't like. I was of an age that I didn't really know his history prior to that show. So that show was like what I knew about him.
That's probably what most people knew about him before the election.
People our age.
Yeah. Most people outside of New York. In New York, they're very, very aware of him. And many people misunderstood this because they knew of him in New York, or I guess Washington too, in that circle. They didn't count on the fact that their awareness and that of the rest of the country was radically different.
Right. Radically different. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just thought that was funny. That was the same thing for me. It was like,
it's fun. It's fun.
So he seemed very charismatic and smart. I mean, he must have been if he had his own TV show. There were signs in the show that he was a BMN. I mean, looking back, the entire show was a giant ego stroke for him. And then when he was out from behind the curated camera in the 2016 presidential race, that's when you really started to see what he was really like and what was really important to him, and that it was all a facade.
Exactly. A massive monumental facade. And, they really did that well. Because, that boardroom, you just took it for granted. This is part of Trump organization. It wasn't. It's a set.
When we watched that Dirty Money show, it was like, that just blew the doors wide open to me, because I had no idea, because since I didn't know his prior history, I didn't know that it would be absurd. For them, they knew his prior history, and it was like, it was supposed to be a satirical show. It was supposed to be like, this is so funny. We're taking this guy that everybody knows is this total financial failure and making him up to be this, big CEO. We're painting his entire office in gold and giving him this fake boardroom, and like, we're planning up to make him basically the butt of this giant joke. and nobody got it. I mean, some people did, but most people who didn't know his history before didn't realize it was a joke, and they thought that was really who he was, and that kind of catapulted him back into the spotlight of like, look at me, I'm this awesome businessman. So interesting.
Okay, sorry, just got some exciting news on message there. It was those things were about. So yeah, somebody want to do the program. So yeah, that's great. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. This thing with Trump too. You know what really astounds me is that, for heaven's sake, if you were running, if you were part of Hillary or any of the other Republicans, surely you would have made an ad that said, hey, you know, this stuff in the Apprentice, the boardroom, this is all BS. It's not true. This is not true that, you know, Trump Soho, he didn't own that. He doesn't even own Trump Building, the ground it's on. Surely you could have exposed, it was all known stuff then. How come we're finding about it now, only not then? This is fascinating to me. That opposition research was horrible. I mean, you've got a field day worth of stuff, and even now it's not coming out really the way it should, you know.
I remember seeing some people posting early on in his presidential race about, like, you know, he's gone bankrupt several times. The whole Trump Steaks thing kept being brought up. I remember people saying, oh, Trump Steaks, like, he's failed. He's had these failed businesses. But I didn't do a ton of research into it at the time. Like, I was like, okay, you know, he's been bankrupt. That's kind of interesting. But I didn't see it as the giant fraud that it was until a lot later. You know, I didn't, you know, it wasn't like I was being wooed by his fantasticalness over to his side, but I didn't realize how much of a fraud he was. And, you know, all of these people that were like, I mean, I remember watching all the rallies and stuff, and they would go around interviewing people like, why are you voting for Trump? Like, he's a successful businessman. He's made all this money. Like, he knows what he's doing. He had this TV show, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, that's all nonsense. It's complete nonsense. It's just interesting.
It's fascinating. And I'm astounded that, you know, yes, we find out the stuff, but it's kind of in very roundabout ways. This is your advertising campaign, for heaven's sake. Just expose all the stuff, and there you go. Game over, you know. And there's been a court case against him, where that reporter, the guy wrote, you know, and I've seen him on MSBC a lot, where he said this, and he said, you know, he said the guy's not a millionaire or billionaire, and he had to prove it. I would say first thing in a debate, I'm saying you're a liar and a fraud. You're not a billionaire. That's it. If you want us to believe you're a billionaire, you got to prove it, because you've already been in court. You've lost this case, so nothing you said counts for anything. You've already proven that you've lied about this. Right there, you expose him. You know. Anyway, I'm intrigued at the logic here behind this. Very fascinating. More of it.
Let's see. All right, question 3 was pretense and vanity. Let's see. How much is the issue? How much are we concerned with our appearance? How much vanity? So vanity is big business in America. Everyone from social media influencers whose jobs shock the hell out of me, to the, you know, next door neighbors all spend countless hours curating this picture of perfection to put on display for the world to see. Very few people post pictures of a messy house with a naked baby and a pile of dog shit on the floor. And that might cause someone, you know, because that might cause someone that we don't know and have never met before to make a rude comment. We just can't handle it.
Yeah. Interesting, Joe. Interesting.
That's powerful. Is less important to me now than in school, when the way you dress was just as important to how you acted to fit in. You know, today I want to look professional and put together, but I don't feel a need to look perfect anymore. Exactly. Yeah. The whole concept of a social media influencer and that just, it boggles my mind.
It is amazing. But this is the key thing, though. You look at the size of that industry. That industry is big because there's a market for it. So we have to see this. And now this is the point of the program, to see the paradigm of it. and not to just see it as exceptional because it blows our minds, to realize we are the anomaly, not them.
Right.
We are the exception.
Right.
In this case, because we don't really feel like ourselves. We just feel like we're pretty normal, and we see crazy behavior, and we assume this is kind of unusual and anomalous and outside, but we have to be aware it's not. And that's important. It's very important because it affects how you relate to the world and understand the world around you. What's important to people in general, yes, and you start to look for the exceptions, like yourself, but it's a very important shift in our perception. Because by default, we assume that we are the normal ones, more or less, So,
yeah.
It's not so. You're not normal. Sorry. And yay! yeah. You're not even close. Not even close to normal. Yeah. But you don't feel all weird and freaky, right?
No.
Okay.
Not more.
But yet you are. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. It's truly something, though. I mean, it's a big shift in our conception to realize we aren't the norm. It's a big deal, even though we feel normal, and of course we are normal, but the norm is abnormal.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Big deal.
Yeah. Where's the trade-off point between effort and reward when it comes to vanity? How exactly do you substantiate and justify your vanity? I think the trade-off depends on the situation. It's different from going out to dinner at a fancy restaurant with a dress code compared to going out to Pizza Hut. I think there's a minimum acceptable, I don't know if I worded this right. I think there's a minimum acceptable amount of vanity to make sure your appearance is proper for the situation, or I guess appropriate for the situation you are in or preparing for. And there's also, I think everyone has, there's also the times when you spend a little bit of extra time prepping yourself just so you can know that you can, right? Every once in a while you want to see yourself in the mirror, all.
Nice. I like that. It's a huge point. Yes. And it's also,
I can do those. Maybe part of it is just like, so I can do that.
Yeah. I see exactly. And also, part of our vanity is just in terms of self-appreciation and self-respect. When we enjoy who we are, so kind of like to say a little bit of vanity is good for the soul. It balances the soul, I should say. The point. A little bit of vanity balances the soul. Yeah. We need that. Otherwise, if you don't have that little bit of vanity, you just kind of don't care and let everything go, and that's also not ideal. So, yeah.
Okay. Vanity connecting to strategy. Everything a BMM does is about how they look or otherwise perceived by someone else or another group. So vanity, even if it's unconscious, is a huge portion of their strategy, if not almost the entire strategy.
Yeah.
And it's
very important. Very important.
The first thing. It's the key.
Yeah.
You've got to appear appropriate to whatever group you're trying to get in with before you could start the manipulation and everything else.
Yeah. So sometimes vanity is necessary for appropriateness, and that's where the strategy part comes in. So. I mean, it's good to be aware of why we are taking care of things. It's the underlying motive and intent. That's the key. Yeah.
Yeah, vanity is an interesting topic. It's
like you're ghost hunting, Erica.
I'm stretching.
Oh, where's that ghost now? Where's that? Because you're there so slowly.
And vanity, this one blows my mind a little bit because there's these people out there who do nothing but project these images of perfection, right? They are clearly very obsessed with their vanity, whether they're necessarily doing it or not. I don't know. I don't know them personally.
Yeah.
And that leads to everyone else thinking that's the norm, wanting to look like that or act like that. And then when they realize they can't, it leads to depression. Which then more time should lead to more time spent online.
Exactly.
The definition of perfection is.
Why? And this is huge. When we zoom out and we look at the bubble realities, they're caught up in a bubble, and that's their reality, where they believe vanity is the thing that you should do. And when you look at that and you say, oh my goodness, this is should logic. And then when we start to look at ourselves, what do I do that similarly is based on should? And what bubble am I potentially in? That's a big deal. It's a big deal. You know, it's easy to spot other bubbles, but we have to say, okay, I might be in a bit of a bigger bubble, but still a bubble. So, yeah, should is very important. Yeah, I was saying to Erica, when we ourselves say should, just add not behind it.
Yep, I remember that.
And then usually it makes much more sense. And then it's like, oh, now it's valuable. It's amazing. It's amazing how that works. Yeah.
Outer cool. How can we sincerely and genuinely be cool for real? What does this mean to you, and what is your real cool?
Nice.
I think being genuinely cool is being comfortable in your own skin, not being afraid to be yourself, and not making excuses or trying to hide yourself when someone else takes issue with it.
Not making excuses. Yeah. When you don't have to justify and substantiate yourself. That's huge. That's huge. And do cool people care about cool?
No.
There you go. It's one of those fantastic oxymorons. I just love it. Gives me great joy. You know, true people cool. They don't care two hoots about cool, which makes them cool. But paradoxically, you know, but it's the hardest thing for those obsessed with being cool. It's the hardest thing for them to ever imagine that cool is not important. They can't imagine it.
Gross.
Let's see. My cool is being kind and empathetic, and being strong and taking care of those who deserve it, and being appreciative of those who take care of me.
Yes. That's very cool. That is phenomenally, monumentally, awesomely, magically cool. Yep. Camel got it wrong. Yeah. Unless you have a long coat like that, I don't know, but you know. His name was Joe Cool, right?
Yeah.
So I'm saying they got it wrong. It's your picture on there, but.
Oh yeah.
What is the strategy? I didn't answer the next two questions. What is the strategy of cool when being impeccable, and sometimes we can only rely on our best and see what results? Yes. The last one, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What is the strategy of being cool when being impeccable?
Yeah, I don't know what that question meant. What did you say, Erica?
I said, I'm not sure there is one, question mark. To me, being genuinely cool is something that just happens as a result of being comfortable with yourself.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily something being done on purpose or deliberately. I'm entirely sure what this question is looking for. How can what was I trying to say?
How can we
strategically use coolness when being impeccable?
Exactly. So if you're being impeccable, if it happens to be cool, it's cool. If it's not, it's not. It's irrelevant. It doesn't make a difference. Yeah.
Well, the strategy is not to try to be cool,
right.
To try to be
exactly. And that takes care of it automatically. Right. Very cool.
And the longer one. 5. Being helpful.
I like that laugh. I got to hear why that chuckle came in there. There seems like a story behind that.
Yeah, there must be.
Let's hear.
When can we help? When we are capable, the help is wanted, and when we understand the help that is needed. Sometimes I feel compelled to find a solution or take action when the help that is needed is really only to listen.
Yes, Joe. Yes. Husband 101. You passed that, man. You passed that there. That's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. You know, in the coming up in the hearing and helping course we're going to do, this is the most important thing to understand, that if you really want to be helpful, just listening, somebody feeling heard and actually being heard, this is what's needed, not the solution. Not the solution. Besides which, if you do present a solution, like when I was doing my crossword puzzle and my brother came by and he gave me the answer, I said, excuse me, he was horrified. He was really offended. But I'm helping you do it. I said, yeah, but you're depriving me of the opportunity of doing it myself. he was really taken aback by it. First of all, he was really, really offended that I told him to F off, you know. He really genuinely thought he was being helpful. He really was in that bubble that he didn't get it. But again, if we provide the solution, we deprive somebody of the opportunity of solving it for themselves. And this is what's really necessary for true, real learning, growth, and awareness. Yes. So actually providing a solution is typically not helpful, not helping. Yeah. So we need to get out of providing a solution and seeing it as being helpful. It generally isn't. Yeah. It's presumptuous, actually. Yeah. Like when he was being utterly presumptuous there. Yeah. So it's difficult to get out of that. It's very difficult, but exceedingly necessary. Exceedingly necessary. So in the context as we go forward here, okay, I'll bring it in later. Never mind, Karen.
Yeah. What is more effective when it comes to appropriate helping of others in the context of tell and share? So I said sharing. Someone who needs help may already be in a vulnerable state, and telling them how to fix something may come across as insensitive or insulting. Sharing advice and or opinions, it's easier for that person to receive in a vulnerable state.
Yeah. So if you tell somebody something, you are limiting their options. This is it. This is the way to do it. One option. Yes. If you share, by default, this is what worked for me or somebody else. By default, you now are, even if you're only presenting one option, they still have to choose whether or not that option applies to them. And this is the big deal. In the one limits choice or eliminates choice, and the other one presents choice. Now, if we really want to share appropriately, share a range of options and say, these are all potential things that can do, even throw in a few unhelpful options there. Then now they're forced to choose. And of course, this is where the real learning, the real healing, the real help comes, when somebody's forced to choose for themselves.
Let's see. What are our ethical responsibilities when it comes to awareness when helping? We need to be aware of the fact that we are helping, that we are helping the person who needs help purely for the purpose of helping, not helping them to really help ourselves achieve some goal. You need to be aware of your motives.
Motives are really key. And you know, when we really look at actual help, how do we know? How often have people tried to help you and they thought they were being helpful, but it was like, get away, stay away from me, you're making it worse, you aren't actually helping. You know, well-intentioned help that just caused a mess. Yeah, but it's good for you. No, it's not. Stay away. So we have to be very cautious of this. Again, why I prefer to present options rather than saying, here it is, you know, this is the thing. So,
and a lot of people feel obligated to accept that help that isn't helpful, right? They don't want to be rude.
Correct, exactly. And then you just aggravate the whole situation. So, tricky. So the only real ethical help, when we get down to it, is help in which you are facilitating choice. That's it.
I remember in Pittsburgh when I was building the deck. I built the deck behind the house in Pittsburgh, and I had dug all the holes, and I had put in the posts, and I was carrying from the garage into the backyard these big 16-foot long 2x12s, and they were heavy and big and awkward and weird. And Kay was up there, and you know, Kay came outside and saw me moving these things by myself and just felt horrible, and she felt help. So her and Eric came out, and we've got this, you know, we're carrying these 2x12s into the backyard, and 3 or 4 times slower than me doing it by myself.
I know exactly what you mean. I've been in that exact same situation. Say again, Eric.
I have actually said that to her before, because there have been several occasions where Joe's working on something outside, and I will offer help. You know, would you like help? No, I'm good. And my mom will be here, and she'll come out and be like, oh, he's working on this by himself. We need to go help. And he said no. You know, she said, oh, but we need to help. We need to help. It's so funny because I definitely have the same inclination, but I definitely can see that where, like, when Joe's working on something, just because I want to be helpful doesn't mean I can be.
Yes.
I'm good. Okay. I'm going to go do something else.
Maybe I just need to reframe the answer. Yes, actually, you can help me. Oh, how? Oh, just let me finish this and then I'll tell you.
Or, go inside.
Yeah. Put on the kettle, be very helpful. Thank you.
Sometimes it's if you want to be helpful, please just don't
leave me alone. Right.
Sometimes, I want to be doing something by myself because it's a way for me to just
exactly. But you do appreciate the question, so.
Yeah, absolutely, you do. You appreciate where it comes from.
Right.
Exactly.
How can we really and actually help if we are tasked to do so? So I think there's probably a very long answer here, but I think it all starts with listening and understanding what's needed. We won't be able to figure out what's appropriate and actually helpful to that person if we don't start listening.
Yeah, absolutely. And also to be aware that what someone else thinks is helpful to them is not necessarily always the actuality. And then you get into a real tricky problem, because now you have to share your awareness. They think the Band-Aid solution, and it's a sharing of awareness, and the help is almost always comes in the form of sharing awareness, not solution.
Right. Yeah, this is funny. My answer there was what we were just talking about: to help or to not help. If we discern that helping would actually be inappropriate in a given case.
And this is hard, because we kind of have this hard wiring. We've got to help, at least a program of societal programming that, being helpful and being of service to others, this is the be all and end all of everything. No, not necessarily. And this is the COVID lesson. Take care of yourself. Don't go around infecting people. And you might be all your good intentions, but if you're going to go around trying to help people, all you're doing is spreading the virus, even if you don't have it.
True.
So we have to be very careful with help. This idea that help is the be all and end, no, it isn't. So we have to be very careful.
How do we help awareness, if this is possible? We can help. Actually, this is a really similar answer. We can help awareness by listening, understanding, and then communicating to help other people understand.
And the point that I was looking there is to get to this point of choice. We can help awareness when we share choices. Every time we have to choose, this is what awareness is all about: deliberate choice. So if we help awareness through choice, this is a massive thing, to bringing more choices into the equation, shifting perspectives, for instance, a deeper understanding, sharing your point of view or other points of view. Anytime it enables choice, there you go, you're helping awareness. So
that was funny. I said to him yesterday, I laid all of this out and got all the way through this, and then at the end of the task it said the questions are asked to stimulate. The task is simply to write out everything you understand relative to helping. I was like, oops. Oh well.
Let's see. How is being helpful potentially arrogant? It's very easy for help to be delivered in a way that can be perceived as I know better than you, I know more than you, etc.
And if go. Sorry.
If we are really interested in helping, it appears to be an inconvenience. It comes across just as I am better than you. My time is worth more than trying to help you.
Okay, go lie down.
And the last question was, how can our desires to be helpful be exploited? There's a couple of ways. So someone who doesn't really need our help will ask for it because they know we will. They know we want to. Someone really devious will ask for help if they know we're going to get them what they want in the end. But they know, or they have an idea of how we're going to help, whether it's right or not. And then they're going to confirm that our way of helping is the right thing to do, even if it isn't the right thing to do.
And when our help is always a default option, it makes us predictable and therefore vulnerable.
Sure.
And makes our help taken for granted too. So, I might help, not necessarily. It's a big shift. Like I said, people can just take advantage of it because they're lazy.
Right.
That's no good. That's no good.
Sweet.
Through module 4.
Awesome.
Well, I'm listening. I'm excited. I didn't understand, but I'm here.
Oh yeah, that's as far as I made it last night through.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. So where we at? Okay, you have some more?
No, I have not done any additional since last night.
Wow, exciting. It's new, it's different. So just as a general overview, I am keen how your thinking and perception has shifted, especially at work, in just the general overall perception of others, and how you relate and connect and understand them, perceive them.
I think my awareness has changed on some people. In particular, kind of listening for like triggering items. Like we can't interact with them anymore. But you can definitely see, some people who, don't really need help. Yeah. Just assuming that you're going to give it to them, right? So they just believe they can go do something else because they know someone else wants to help them.
Yes.
I haven't seen too much of just outright, people trying to be manipulative.
That's good. That's a good sign. Yeah. Manipulations can be subtle though, so we have to be on guard for that. They tend to know that people don't care for manipulation, so when they are outright manipulating, they tend to also, at that point when you have that mindset, they also tend to know that they need to disguise this, and they're very subtle and subversive about it.
Yeah, there's got to be a different kind of art for manipulating over email versus
Oh, probably, yes. And there's something that is definite because it gives you a bit of remove, so yeah.
You don't have the chance to kind of get everybody and get the conversation going, and oh, hey, by the way,
right.
Yeah. So it's that casualness. That's usually when manipulation, it has that, oh, by the way, if you don't mind, some casual way of introducing it.
Yeah, but a lot of that has been removed with all this COVID stuff.
Wow, interesting.
But we're still going back to the office next month, so
really,
maybe it'll begin again.
You are going back to the office next month?
That's the plan right now. I guess the CEO had an all video broadcast on Wednesday. I don't think I watched it. I was stressed out, so I got in the elliptical machine instead. But apparently in there, he reiterated the fact that he wants everyone to come back to the office, I think on September.
Interesting. Well, that'll be a month or two before the next surge comes in the winter. So
you're going to look at data, all that stuff, but people are already like, well, Tulsa's already climbing, like, full, double where we were.
Right. This is inappropriate to want people to come back now. Well, that's good. How is the office productivity, or just the general productivity that you're not there?
It seems like it's been fine. We've done these. I don't know what they are, like Q&A sessions with like video sessions with our senior executive team, the CEO and the chief operating officer and the lady from HR. And they've said we're not missing deadlines. The work is getting done. The quality seems to be good. We're meeting our financial obligations. Everything's going great. But we want everyone to come back to the office.
Fascinating. The disconnect. Some people just struggle with things being different. They're just uncomfortable with things being different.
And our CEO is a guy who's been at the company for 30 plus years.
There you go.
Our COO is, somebody in his, I think Michael's in his late 50s or early 60s. And these are old school.
Yeah. They're used to it being a certain way, and they're uncomfortable with the new and the different. So they don't understand it. Yeah,
it's like I got to see it to be able to trust it, right? I have to see you on a regular basis.
Interesting.
We own our building in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So part of them might be saying, well, we're paying for this thing anyway. Like,
Right. But hey, you're going to pay a lot more when people start getting sick.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Bottom line, so.
There's 3 other major companies, I guess major tenants in the building with us that we lease space to. The Bank of Oklahoma that Eric used to work for, and they've not come back yet. I don't think they have a day to come back yet. No. WPX Energy, and they came back already, and Magellan Energy came back already too.
So just in your own interest, monitor those if you can, in terms of people getting sick or not, so that when they do want to say, hey, you know, our tenants downstairs, how did that work for them? Oh, it didn't. Okay, you know, it's not going to work for us either. So come on, you know, get real with us. Yeah.
Anytime someone in the building, regardless of what company they work for, tests positive, we have to send a notification to everyone in the building.
So that's automatically taken care of then. Yeah.
A couple of weeks that are coming through, and that's just the people that, you know, have been in the building recently.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Wow.
And frankly, you know, one in the building recently is enough to.
Right. Wow, that's interesting. So it's kind of good that they're there in a sense. You know, you get to know and monitor what things are going on at least. But still, I'm just fascinated at the disconnect of the logic that people can't break their pattern. Since we were talking about pattern, they struggle. They struggle.
It really, and it bothers me, really. It does. It really bothers me that they're so insistent, because we have, in IT, I know that we've invested tons of money into all the technology that you need. Everyone has a laptop. We've got VPN for everybody. We got everything in the cloud these days. The majority of our people don't physically have to be present in the office to do their job.
Obviously, and you know, it's so much more efficient. And if you'd say, look, that time we spend commuting and all of this, you know, where's the productivity here?
Right.
And then the people who have kids who, you know, we don't know what's going on with their schools yet, or
right.
In school all the time, they're allowed to stay home through the end of the year at least.
Interesting. At least that's something.
Yeah.
It's an old company with old views. It's a good company, but it's got some old.
Yeah.
That's exciting, but there are a lot of new companies out there that do have this mindset and perspective. So, we just have to find them, connect to them. It's very exciting.
Yeah, it's from an appropriateness perspective. I mean, from a, you know, we're competing with these other younger companies that let you work every day and let you work from home a day or two.
Right.
We don't, right? It's not appropriate anymore that we, if I'm a.
Oh, they gotta evolve or they're gonna die. You know, they're gonna lose their people. You know, so.
Yeah.
And the sad part is, they probably will die through attrition.
Yeah. Even I have no problem going to the office, but I've really enjoyed not being forced to go.
Oh hell yeah! It's a much more fun way to work.
Yeah. I can, if I need to take a break for 15 minutes instead of reading the news at my desk at work, I'll go outside and mow a section along.
Exactly. It's much more productive, and you get greater joy of work too. So yeah, much more efficient, much more effective.
Yeah. Food's better.
There you go. And the company.
The company's better.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Erica, at the
no, thanks, Mills.
Thank you. Poor old Tank. Erica, I asked you a question at the end of yesterday, and I forget exactly the wording, but do you remember?
Oh man, you're putting me on the spot.
You didn't write it down?
I don't think I did, because I think I was jumping off to make dinner. It was, oh shoot.
What qualities about yourself do you enjoy?
Was that it?
I think so, or it's similar to that.
Yeah.
That was the intent behind it, to really reflect on what it is about yourself that you enjoy. Which qualities of self do you enjoy about yourself?
Yeah.
And anything?
What qualities about myself do I enjoy?
Or qualities of self, you know, that are in you, do you enjoy?
I enjoy my goodness, I think. I enjoy.
What do you mean you think? Hang on. This is not this is kind of a binary thing here.
I'm actively thinking about these things. So I think I enjoy my goodness. That's coming up. I enjoy my, what's the word I'm looking for? what is the word I'm looking for? I'm trying to think of.
Lie down.
Lay down. How to word it. My ability to appreciate I know what I'm trying to think of how to describe what I'm feeling exactly, but I guess my ability to appreciate things like seemingly small things or insignificant things. Obvious. And
in other words, your ability to find the sublime in the mundane.
Yeah, sure.
It's like kind of like when there was like a really nice cloud or a cloud that had a pretty color on it. You're like, well, the sun was going.
Find the sublime in the mundane. Yeah, it's just a perspective shift.
And I was like, man, it's a cloud.
I love trees and, you know.
Yeah, trees are awesome.
And just random things. Let's see. I appreciate my willingness, I guess, to learn. My desire.
Is it a willingness or a joy?
Yeah, I just changed it to desire. And I think for me, a lot of that comes back to just an intent to goodness that I see learning and growth as something that's good. And so it may not be something, I don't know, I'm having a really hard time like putting to words the things that I'm thinking of or feeling, but I guess even if I am in a period where I don't realize that there's something I need to learn, my desire to be good eventually brings me back to that desire to learn and grow. So I think for me, a lot of it just comes down to I really appreciate that at heart, I am someone who wants to be good and appropriate and kind and improve, learn, get better, grow. That drives a lot of what I do. But I also appreciate that I can stop and just find joy in small fun things. It doesn't always have to be learning and growing all the time.
That is so awesome. That is so fantastic. I'm listening. Keep going. Keep going. I mean, to imply that that's all there is. There's a lot more. I want to hear all of it.
Well, I don't know. What do you appreciate about you? I have to think. I'm trying to think about other stuff.
What about you?
About me?
Yes, it's all about you. But yes, here's the interesting thing. Why is this a difficult question?
I think it's just something for some reason I'm struggling to put into words things that are coming up. So it's not necessarily a difficult question. It's just a difficult translation, I guess, into something that makes sense.
It's probably a more difficult question. The lower your vanity is, the higher your humility naturally is. So it's hard.
Yes. So that's why I was thinking of this. Because
right.
Because look at the project you were on to restore your vanity, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can get overly excessive with, and let our vanity fall into disrepair. There is an appropriateness to vanity, and part of this is self-appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
So this is really, really important. So keep thinking. I want to hear more on this. I have a quote for you here.
I have. like a minute before I got to get out of here.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, since you got to go, Joe, real quick, I'm going to ask this in a question form and then similarly see if you have things that maybe you want to suggest as a question. What about your thoughtfulness? Do you appreciate that about you, Erica?
Yeah, I do.
I would say, what about your thoughtfulness? What about your attention to detail?
Yeah.
I appreciate your attention to detail. Sometimes I do not appreciate your attention to detail.
Yeah. What about your intelligence?
Intelligence, your desire to help. It's not just your willingness, it's the desire.
Right.
Is that desire to help in the same vein as what we're talking, or is it the desire to be appropriate? Has it shifted?
I mean, yeah, desire to help appropriately, maybe.
All right. So it has shifted, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What about your sophistication?
Yeah. I appreciate that about myself, for sure.
Okay. I got to go jump on this training session.
Very good. Very good. Okay. So that's the same question for you, Joe.
We'll make some notes.
Yeah. I mean, Erica did have all the time since yesterday, so if she was on the spot, that's her undoing. Sorry. But yeah, I am very keen on this answer, Joe. Very keen. All right. See you, man. See you. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks, man.
Very much. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it.
And I'm going to have to run in a minute too, because
that's no problem. No problem. I gotta see the outfit for today. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
I'm just teasing you because it's just all right. No worries. No worries. I was just teasing. When I saw the straps, I wasn't sure, and then as you came, I saw a little bit. And said, "Okay, there you go." Just having some fun with it. So that's cool. Yeah, no worries. If you got to run, then let's go. So it's no problem. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, I've got to get my stuff packed for Mom's house. We were originally planning to be on the road by now, but the roof guys are taking longer than we expected to. So hopefully we'll get to the road here shortly.
Okay. Okay. So maybe while you're driving, do some of the program.
Yeah. Yeah. I am going to be.
Yeah.
Driving, I think.
Right. So. But I mean, Joe can read it and, go through it and you can do it together because that'd be kind of cool, no? How long is the drive?
It's about an hour and a half.
Oh, so not long. Okay. Is Oklahoma is south of Tulsa?
Oklahoma is south. Well, it is south, not by a whole lot, but it's southwest of us. So.
Okay. So southwest. Okay. So you are then northeast of Oklahoma.
Is right in the middle of the state.
Yeah.
And Tulsa is in the northeast corner.
Okay. Okay. It just helps me with my geography. I've been to both actually.
Have you?
Yeah. I've been to I think 52 states.
52.
Yeah.
States in the United States or states?
Yeah, no, states in the United States. Yeah.
Well,
Olivia's been to I think 57. Yeah, she hasn't been to Vermont and Maine. No, we've been to Maine.
Well, you guys are coming up with some extra states then, because there's only 50.
Did I say 50? I meant 42. I'm sorry. 42. I'm like, yeah, 52. That sounds right. 42. Dang it, 42. Yeah, I mean, almost 50. You're right. Yeah, this. 42. Yeah, she's been like 47. It's like Vermont, Hawaii, and one other state up there in the northeast. That's it.
You haven't ever been to Hawaii?
No.
Oh man, I went to Hawaii for the first time last summer. Yeah. Oh man, it's.
Yeah. Well, now it's flying, and it's such a complication. Well, at least since 9/11, and flying is such a big. So flying is just out of the equation. That's why not Hawaii. But other than that, when we did the camera shows, we traveled. That was driving all over. We're based in Michigan and Chicago at the time, and from there we drive for a weekend and come all the way down to Dallas, go up to I don't know, Minnesota, the Twin Cities, Even we didn't come. Weren't too many in some of those. We did Dakotas, but then go down to Florida, Washington, Boston, New York. I mean, the whole country. So some of them were very, very long drives, 14, 16-hour drives. But typically it was 8 to 10 hours. So
That's awesome. Yeah, it is exhausting. But
we
I
got
love
to see the whole country. So that's how come the 42 states. 42, not 52. Bloody hell.
it.
It's very amusing, very amusing. That's why when you said states, you went like countries. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we've been all over Europe, but it's not that many, It's not that
Right.
many also.
That's
You
fun.
don't always get to see everything as much as you'd like, but still, you get to see enough. So, yeah.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
So, Oklahoma City. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did there. And usually we do twin cities on a weekend, like Tulsa and Oklahoma City. That's why I'm sort of remembering it.
Down to Dallas, you probably went through Oklahoma City because it's
Yeah.
Dallas is basically due south. It's like 4 hours south of
Yeah,
Oklahoma
yeah.
City.
And we used to do Dallas and Fort Worth,
Mhm.
as on the Saturday you do Fort Worth, on the Sunday you do Dallas,
Right.
or sometimes I think we did Dallas and Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I'm not sure, but usually it was fairly close-ish, within an hour, hour and a half drive. So that's why Tulsa and Oklahoma City. I don't specifically remember them, but anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta
Mhm.
go. Brilliant, brilliant. So yeah, I'm keen to do more whenever the chance comes, but again, no hurry. I like this that we don't have stress.
Right. I like your shirt.
Oh,
Good.
thank you. Oh, I gotta show the whole shirt. Yeah. So this
Awesome.
was the first one when the idea came. You see, it's got the pattern on the whole thing.
I love it.
Say again.
I love it. It looks good.
Yes, me too. And I like this. This represented what I was after.
Mm-hmm.
Something a bit more sophisticated, smart, and also different and
Right.
somewhat distinctive. And
Right.
this kind of fits that whole bill. So I do like this. Was like I said, and I tried to look for more in the abstract that fit. And well, I didn't quite. This one really represents it the most. So a few others here and there, but not quite to the extent that this one does. So.
I really like it. It looks
Oh, good.
good.
Oh, good. Oh, good. All right. Brilliant. Brilliant. I'm excited. I'm excited, Erica Jane. I'm excited. My energy's been a little down, and it's nice it's coming back up. So I'm really looking forward to doing more next week and really, getting deep into it. And I miss your takeaways, by the way. I was thinking about this last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss them very much. So I do want to hear them again. So it's very
All right.
important. It's very
Awesome.
important. Yeah, 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 yeah. And I'm happy with the time. I shifted that logic. So very happy with the time. So this is more important to me, the
Right.
quality of the interaction than the time thing. So that's very, very important to me. It's very important. So
Well,
very cool. Very
awesome.
cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, have a great weekend, and
Oh, you too, you too, you too. And if ever there's a spare moment, like I said before, on the weekends, just come hang out. It's always cool, if possible. I don't
great.
know. Of course, if possible. So I just wanna keep that door open. That's all.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah. Brilliant, brilliant.
Awesome.
All
Thanks.
right. Well, bye bye, Erica. Bye bye, bye bye, bye bye. Let's love it.